Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stoveside Chats. Happy Wednesday. My name is Chad Blackwelder. I do food service marketing for the Department of Agriculture. We have a good interview today. Tristan Brooks just joined and waved. Thank you. And there's Left Bank Butchery. All right, let's bring in our guest. Butcher's Market. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Let me try that again.
Am I there, Chad?
Yeah, hang on once. There you are. Hey, Ross.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know if I'm not doing it correctly. This is new for me.
You got it down pat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think most of the people that I've done close to 50 of these so far, and I would say 99% have never done this before. And I didn't know anything about it until I first started doing it. So there's a learning curve there. But again, we appreciate you being here. For those who are joining us and watching and waving in, we really appreciate it. This is Ross Flynn of Left Bank Butchery in Saxby Hall, North Carolina, and also Alimentari, 2 locations, right? One in Durham and one in Raleigh.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's start out like we always do. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to becoming a butcher.
I moved to the area about a dozen years ago, and I started working on a farm in Snow Camp. It was one farm at the time, Cane Creek and Brayburn Farm. And I accidentally wound up working there for about 5 or 6 years. It was supposed to be a couple weeks. And somewhere along the way, our business plan was a difficult one, like it is for all small farmers, is both how to raise top-notch product and then also how to get it in the right hands. So we really kind of daydreamed about having a partnership with a whole animal butcher shop. And then somewhere along the line, I started to butcher for some local restaurants, and then one thing led to another, and I wound up actually being the butcher shop who's still, partnered with those farms. They split back into 2 farms, but we're not partners in like a professional sense or official sense. But all the pigs come from Cane Creek and cows from Brayburn, so that's the short of it.
Yeah. Now, how long has Left Bank Butchery been around?
6.5 years.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool. And then the other 2 places, Alimentari, that opened up in transfer. What was it? Has it been 2 years, give or take, year and a half?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah. And then the Durham location
is time to get started, and then have a pandemic.
Yeah.
Get in a public food hall during a pandemic. It's a dream.
I'll tell you what, man. And your Durham location is I guess the baby, the newest location, right?
No, actually, that's kind of a separate thing. So the Alimentari at Left Bank is a partnership between us and Josh DeCarellis, who's the chef at Mother and Sons, and then he started like an Alimentari at Mother and Sons next door. So
okay, I got you.
We got our hands in enough things right now. We don't need to go to Durham as well.
Right. And you guys have a mobile truck, like a mobile butcher shop, right?
Yeah, we go to the Carborough Farmers Market every Saturday. It's really Cane Creek Farm who's there, but Cane Creek brings the pigs to us, and so we process all of our pork as Cane Creek. So.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Now, talk a little bit more about the butcher shop. Obviously, you butcher whole animals, and you guys are the only whole animal butcher shop in the Triangle, correct?
That I know of, yeah.
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 And you guys,
I won't say that definitively, but yeah.
Well, you guys definitely offer some different stuff. I mean, your charcuterie lineup is pretty amazing. What you guys are doing there. What other amenities do you guys offer? Any like value added items, cheeses, that sort of thing?
No, really. I mean, Alimentari, we do more. But our Saxby Hall location, I mean, we're really focused on everything that we can do with whole animals, whole pigs, and then also some lamb as well. So lots of charcuterie, but also a lot of value added. We take advantage of the holidays. We just got done with St. Patty's Day, and we had, in addition to the corned beefs and all, soups and things like that, we did Guinness and steak and mushroom pies with a suet crust, and there's enough fun to be had with animals that I feel like that's plenty of creative license there. So.
Yeah, you guys are doing some really, really neat stuff. And I love on your website when you're talking about the butcher shop and it says that you're not hip. I thought that was really funny. Like you guys have real butchers there, not like dudes in fedoras. So that's really cool. And it's cool that you guys are like providing recipes and cooking tips and really doing what a butcher in an old school sense is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I would say, I won't say half our job, but it feels like sometimes half our job is to really make sure that people are successful in their own kitchens, right? So because we may have 30 different steaks in the shop, and most people aren't familiar with any but a handful of them. And so making sure that people are successful in their kitchen, it doesn't really matter. I always tell everybody at the shop, like, it doesn't really matter if the mistake was made, on the customer's point of view, or it's really up to us to give them the tools and to sort of figure out where their cooking knowledge is and like what they do feel comfortable with, and sort of get them home. And I can't tell you how many times people text me or send me emails and just pictures and just how wonderful things come out, because it's a different relationship than like a restaurant, for example, where you cook and you say, wow, that's wonderful. And ours is really much more of a partnership, and how do we do as much as we can? How do the farms do what they can do? What can we do? And then how do we hand that to somebody and make sure that the end product is what we want? So,
yeah. Now you mentioned that you guys work closely with Cane Creek Farms and Braeburn Farms. I was reading on your website when you said that you were working on Cane Creek Farm. You said that you guys were managing your pastures like few else in the world are doing. Explain that a little bit. What does that look like?
Well, in particular with Braeburn, sort of the grazing strategy over there, it's called mob grazing. The really quick rundown is, if you drive along out where we live, you'll see cows out in pastures, and basically, you got 50 acres, and you figure out how many heads of cow you put out there, and you let them do their thing, which is not an optimal approach towards grazing. And then there's intensive grazing, where you create paddocks and you move them along through different paddocks to sort of better utilize the grass and to have healthier pastures. And what Braeburn does is even a step beyond that. It's called mob grazing. So they're blitzing basically a very small portion of pasture and moving them. It sort of depends on the time of the year, but oftentimes twice a day onto new pastures. So the cows are constantly on the best grass. You're also putting a lot of animals on a small space, which helps to fertilize. And you don't take down the grass completely. You let them take what they want and sort of mash their waste into the soil, and then you give the land a lot of time to rest. So that's mob grazing in a really short, concise manner. But yeah, it really maximizes what you can get out of those pastures. But the real key is when you've been doing it for 10, 20 years, hopefully at some point, it really starts to create deeper and deeper root structures and a more resilient pasture, more soil depth to retain water. There's a lot of advantages to it. So, yeah. And that's another thing too, that, having worked on the farm and having been so involved with the farm, we can talk to customers about that. Out in Saxby, we have people who just want healthy food, some people who want really delicious food, and we have some people who are really into the sustainability of the farming practices. And we like to think that we can talk to all of those things.
Sure. Yeah, and I was going to ask you to kind of expound on the importance of building that relationship with your butcher, and you just gave a bunch of great reasons why. I mean, the fact that you guys are getting to know your customers on that level, as far as like knowing what their skill set is in the kitchen and be able to make recommendations to the fact that you worked those farms and you know how those animals are being properly treated and cared for, and that's a great story. I mean, I always say that, you know, good food is good food, but the story really helps sell that food, I think, 95% of the time. So that's why it's important to build those relationships. And it's really cool that you guys have, you know, kind of helped created sort of a community hub there in Saxball, which has been a long time since I've been there. I worked at Celebrity Dairy Farms years ago, and I used to go through Saxball before it kind of got its facelift, I guess, you know. But it's really, really neat what you guys are doing there. So I'm always amazed by how butchers are always coming up with new cuts. It seems like every year there's like, how do butchers keep finding those things? It's so interesting to me. Have you ever made one of those cut discoveries, I guess, or?
Well, no, I'd be very weary of saying I've discovered anything on an animal that people haven't discovered. that probably will never happen. You know, I do actually. I think it's funny because there's new steaks all the time, and quite frankly, terribly named. You know, Vegas this or Denver that or anything, and I'm always imagining some French butcher going, "What the hell?" You know, like we've been cutting that for a long time. Shut up. You know, it's to me the real challenge isn't it's. Well, you know, we're changing seasons right now, right? We're going from a cold weather when it's a little easier to sell braising cuts into, you know, hopefully the world opening up and people wanting to be outside. And, of course, the animals' muscles don't really change. So it's about how to, yeah, I mean, obviously you're working within seasons, and we got lots of orders for Passover this week, but of course we get the same number of briskets any week, and next week, you know, hams for Easter, and so there's sort of a holiday component. But then according to the seasons, and so yeah, it's the same animal in some. I mean, it's the same muscles every single week, but the sort of the creativity is how best to sort of guess at what people want and how to sort of maximize what people don't want that week. So
yeah. So you guys, obviously people can order online. Definitely check out Left Bank Butchery's website and Alimentari as well. And is it safe to say that, I mean, Alimentari obviously leans a little more Italian. Is Left Bank Butchery a little more French leaning with your line of charcuterie and that sort of thing, or?
No, we're a rural, you know, Alamance County here, so we have no qualms about borrowing from whatever traditions we want out here. We made a beef birria this past week, you know, for people to make tacos. We made a Jamaican stew, sort of like a Jamaican oxtail stew this past week. We do French charcuterie. We do very accessible American things as well. We go all over the place, but yeah, Alimentari is perhaps a little more.
Sorry about that.
What they do. Yeah, I got my going too.
Hang on one second. Hey, stop. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead, Ross. I'm sorry.
But they're doing a lot of pastas down there, and sort of, you know, how to take and finish that Italian meal. But yeah, we still have kielbasa in the case down there, and pastrami and other things. So
yeah, I work in downtown Raleigh, and I've been going in 2 or 3 days a week, and I love hitting Alimentari at Transfer. Like your pastas are amazing. The bucatini is incredible, and but I get there last time. I think I got some of your guanciale and some pesto, and it's such a great little place to pick up quality ingredients, and I put dinner together in 20 minutes, you know, so definitely go check out what these guys are doing. One we're out of time, man. I appreciate you being here. Is there anything else you want the
Absolutely.
folks to know about what you guys have coming up for spring or anything like that?
We're going just a week at a time right now. We're hoping that, we've had a lot of people kind of loading up their freezers for obvious reasons, and now we're hopefully moving into a place in the world where people can get together and start grilling out, and hopefully all go back to normal. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You guys make sure you're checking out Ross and all the good work he's doing at Left Bank Butchery and Alimentari. And thank you, sir. We appreciate what you do.
absolutely.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me, Chad.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. That was Ross Flynn with Left Bank Butchery and Alimentari. So next week we have Chef Patrick Cowden. Let's see. You're still okay. Chef Patrick Cowden from Farmhouse Cafe in Wendell, North Carolina. And then the first week of April, we have Tom Stefan from Battistini Farms. They have a really cool story. They have some property in Modena, Italy, and they import olive oil and balsamic vinegar and repackage that in Winston-Salem. Really, really great products. So looking forward to having that conversation. And then we have Chef William Dyson from Asheville. Let's see, he has Marketplace in Asheville, Haymaker in Charlotte, and Billy D's Fried Chicken, which is a great restaurant at the zoo in Asheboro. So next time you're there, check that out. And then we have Ty Lewis of Buttermilk Boutique. She is an amazing pastry chef. She's one of our Got to Be in C culinary ambassadors. She made one of the best desserts I've ever had in my life. So that's going to be a great conversation. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week.